Hello everybody, I'm on to the West Ham Way YouTube channel. It's the usual suspects, it's the fans' voice. Dennis, Supersonic Mark, Jeff and Bill are all here to celebrate that magnificent win last night. West Ham went temporarily fourth. I'm not sure if it's the same, but we'll take it. Loads to discuss, lads. Absolutely loads. Obviously, transfer targets. We're getting nearer the window now, so a couple of things are shifting. Beat Doncaster quite handily, 4-0 in the FA Cup, and obviously we've got a massive game on Sunday against Liverpool. But obviously, I'm going to touch on this Palace game. I want to know your thoughts on it. How good a performance is that, and how big a turnaround is it given the start of the season?
Yeah, I'm personally absolutely buzzing. It feels great, doesn't it, to be saying that we're fourth in the league and we're right in amongst it. And it makes a change as well for us actually to be looking up the table rather than nervously glancing down the below us. We played really, really well last night. The scoreline in the end for me flattered Palace a little bit. We probably should have maybe on another day. I think we would easily have scored 5 or 6. We were that good. And obviously, as we've mentioned before on the show, the togetherness in the squad again shone through last night. The team spirit, the players are obviously absolutely loving playing for each other and working hard, and I think that's replicating in the results as well, and it's great to see.
Loving it. Jeff, thoughts on that, mate? It was a nice little performance. Mark's right, we should have finished that a lot earlier, but the game was live pretty much till the 90th minute.
Yeah, it's a fantastic performance, and like Mark said, it flattered them, didn't it? 3-2. I mean, we could have had 5 or 6, couldn't we? Thought Benrahma just stole the show, like the skills.
Oh, mate.
His movement was so much better, and his brain looked like it was moving quicker. He was finding that pass quicker, whereas before he was holding onto the ball for a few seconds too long. And I actually thought Antonio led the line really, really well. I know he got so unlucky not to score a hat trick, but not to score anything. But he could have had 3. But I still thought it was a fantastic performance. He was a great outlet when he gave their defence trouble, and he opened up space for his teammates. So I thought it was fantastic, and it's a shame really that we conceded 2 because, like I say, as Mark said, the scoreline flattered them. But all in all, it was brilliant.
Bang on, mate. Some massive performances in there. Bill, even Declan Rice, Thomas Souček last night, trying to pick a man of the match was actually quite difficult. Who did you settle on?
I think I'd just go with Souček. Obviously, it was 2 goals, but it was immense midfield. But again, it's hard to pick for certain a man of the match. I think it shows obviously a testament how well the players played. Benrahma, as Jeff has said, I think it was his best performance in the West Ham shirt without doubt. Antonio led the line brilliantly. If it weren't for Guaita in goal, we could easily got 2 or 3. And the defence, apart from first and the last couple of minutes, I think defence were pretty good. So, as I said, really good performance. I don't think it's quite on the par as the Leicester away performance. I still think that's our best performance of the season. But I think last night was alongside the Leeds performance for me. I think it was very similar. Went behind early and then just go on and then absolutely dominate the match. So, I'd say it was on par with the Leeds game. But, can't really fault any of the players. A really good performance all round.
See, that was the thing, wasn't it? Dennis, you'll know on the stream, we went a goal down. I mean, here we go. Typical West Ham. We've had a break and we're struggling. That was me. But the difference now...
I felt that we were going to, I was like, we all know that only, but I was like, there's going to be goals in this. There's going to be goals in this. And, we're going to come back from it. And it's just refreshing. I said beforehand, I was saying to Angus and Charles before the game, like, look at that lineup. Is that with the exception of Payet and to a lesser extent, Parker in central mid, there's not really been a better attacking lineup really than what we had last night, in my opinion. I mean, it could be argued, would you rather Arnie up top instead of Antonio? It's neither here nor there for me. They both have similar qualities, and it shows the attacking potential in this team. Whereas last season, the last couple of years, we really struggled to break teams down. We would nick a goal. And earlier in the season, we were winning games 1-0, type of games we would normally lose. But this last season we would have conceded late and it had been an equaliser or a late Jordan Ayew winner, whereas it really shows how far we've come last year.
Yeah, I just thought, honestly, it is between the Leicester game and that game. I just thought for a team performance, the intensity at times for West Ham was superb. Benrahma for me was just unreal. I think he's getting there in terms of his chance creation now. Like Jeff said, he's a bit more decisive. We're seeing that in his game, but his work rate's different class and fair play. He's coming along. I can't wait to see what he's going to produce for the rest of the season because he's only going to improve.
Yeah, I think Benrahma's performance last night is a real testimony to, I think, to the work that he's done on the training pitch. You know, I think personally, a lot of people think that managing and coaching is, you know, just selecting a team for a Saturday afternoon and that's it, without realising what goes on behind the scenes. I mean, last night, 8 ball recoveries apparently for Benrahma and 2 tackles, which I think if you compare that to maybe when he started earlier on, you wouldn't have got them sort of stats out of him. So I think that's a real testimony to Moyes and the rest of the coaching staff and to Benrahma as well, that he's obviously listened. And obviously his attacking potential is obviously never in doubt, but I think that side of his game has come on quite a lot in the last few weeks. And also as well being effective as well. It's one thing going to close a player down, it's another thing and actually being effective and actually, you know, dispossessing him or, you know, stopping an attack. And I think full credit to him because it's a massive improvement on that side of his game.
And the nuts thing about that game last night was how many chances we could have buried that. It could have been 4 or 5. Mickey hits it off the post twice. We have so many chances. And listen, Palace, to be fair to them, came with a game plan. You know, they were good. I couldn't really fault them. We just wanted it a little bit more. We were a bit more intense, and obviously we got over the line.
Yeah, I mean, Palace just look slow for me. They just
Really?
look slow. I reckon they just look slow, especially in the middle of the park, and we just look hungrier. You know, Rice and Souček, better central. I don't think we've ever had a better central midfield partnership. So
It's up there.
yeah, struggling to think really. Who was Devonshire's partner in 85, 86? I can't remember off the top of my head.
You're asking the wrong man in me, mate.
I'm looking at Mark, I'll be honest.
I was looking at
Exactly, Charles. I reckon we did dominate Palace. To be fair, mate, and it looked. It was just again hitting the post. I mean, poor Tibbles on West Ham clips. The amount of times we hit the post last night was ridiculous.
Yeah, nice. Listen, I think it kind of states how this West Ham side have changed. You know, these type of fixtures, Burnley, West Brom, Palace, you're sitting there going, here we go. They're typical fixtures that we kind of fall in, drop points in, and we picked up all 3 and go into 4th place. I know it may be only temporarily, but I just want to know your guys' thoughts on things. Has it changed your ambition for this season? Do you think genuinely West Ham can really contend for these European places now?
Well, I think the difference is like you just said that Palace, you know, they look good. They've got some good players. I think the difference is now we've actually got some world class players in multiple positions. Like Rice and Souček, world class. Sofal, world class. At the moment, for some reason, Dawson is world class alongside. Like these guys,
I think world class might be a stretch for
Yeah,
He's proving me wrong.
It's at the moment we have actually got, like, jokes aside, a handful of world-class players in our first 11. And whereas Palace, got some good players, some decent side, which is what we've always been. We've always been a decent side, sometimes underperformed, but a decent enough footballing team. But now we're looking world-class. So we're certainly good enough for challenging for Europe. Are we deep enough? No. Yeah. We're going to ride our luck on the injury front. But if that 11 started every game, then we'd be looking to cement that European spot for sure.
Yeah, no, definitely. Bill, thoughts on West Ham in Europa? Do you think it can happen?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We're showing that more consistency than some of the other sides, especially like Arsenal. We're going through a transition under Mikel Arteta, whereas we seem to be further ahead in our development under David Moyes. I think it's exactly what Jeff said. I think the only thing that will, hold us back from getting Europe is possibly getting injuries, because our squad depth isn't really there as it was at the start of the season. So hopefully, if we can get a couple of signings in before the window, then that little bit of boost to get us in the European spots. I don't think Wolves have got 7th for the last couple of seasons. I don't see why we can't get 7th this season.
It's massive, mate, and I don't think we've mentioned this enough, but that Moyes' rotation of certain players against Doncaster on Saturday meant they come into this game fresh, and you could see it. The intensity was there. Again, we're not going to have that luxury throughout the season, and obviously we are going to need people to come in, possibly Lingard, possibly the RB Leipzig striker, but it is massively important. But if you can get that 11 out there each week, they're more than capable and they're fully fit.
Yeah, I agree with what's been said, really. I think that, as we've known since the start of the season, the depth of the squad is not there at all. And you just hope, look at the meltdown that we was all having when Antonio was injured, and then we brought him back, and we shouldn't have done. And I'll say another conversation about Haller's performances, but definitely, I'd be disappointed if we didn't sort of get into that sort of 6th, 7th spot now. I'm not, Champions League would obviously be fantastic, but realistically, as a club, we're not equipped for it. And second of all, I don't think that we would last the pace anyway. I think we'd fall away. But I think with where we are now, we've got 18 games to go. If we weren't to get sort of 6th, 7th in the league, I think that would be a real disappointment, really, from here on in now.
Who'd have thought that after the Newcastle game, mate? Honestly,
it was never in doubt. It was never in doubt.
He's backtracking, mate. He was on the channel when it happened, so I know your opinion. No, honestly, we were all right. There was not one of us that were like.
I famously said I'll take 17th from the run right now. I think that video of me calling in with you and Dan on the Newcastle ones made it round my football group chat of saying, here was Dennis 7 or 5 months ago slagging off everything, and now suddenly, we're going to get Europe, we're massive, yeah. Difference.
We didn't have Craig Dalton then, mate. That was the difference, wasn't it?
So, mate, it's the meme right now of Craig Dawson going, "How am I doing, boss?" And there's Bobby Moore up in heaven saying, "Oh, you're doing fine, son." That fake Colton put out. I think we've reached peak, like the pinnacle of Dawson mania now. It can only go downhill from here.
Yeah. I'm waiting for it. I'm waiting for when we come against the Liverpool.
I'm just waiting for Mane to just destroy him on Sunday.
But that's the thing, he had a dodgy few 10 minutes against Southampton where I thought, here we go, we've signed him and he's going to be clumsy.
He had some clumsy moments against Everton and Stockport, but he's been solid ever since.
But I actually think he's getting that consistency and he's getting that game time now, and he's actually looking a bit more accomplished on the ball. I know people take the mick out of his long-range passes and, it's not too much to write home about, but actually I think defensively he's looked quite assured. And going forward, set pieces, he's huge, mate. Honestly, that goal last night, that little run to the near post, he's a good signing. I can't believe I'm saying it. He has come in and he's done a decent job.
Yeah. It does make me question the amount of people moaning about the Lingard signing on Twitter. For example, a player that, again, Moyes has identified. I can't imagine him identifying Dawson over other people, but clearly Moyes would have been happy with Dawson. And, Lingard could be the one that, it took a few months of Dawson to get going. Lingard will score the goal that wins us the league or something this year,
On a serious, that is the thing, though. When that Lingard thing come out, I go, behave yourself. And I
think it's the right option.
No. So I've seen people come out and say, bang on, get him in, he's got quality. Then there are other people saying, I'm not sure. I was one of the ones that weren't sure. And now I'm thinking, but you know what? I'll tell you what's swaying it for me. The fact I'm like, well, if David Moyes wants him this much, surely he knows something possibly that we don't know, and he can get the best out of him.
Yeah, there's a good player there that needs to come out, and he needs a second chance. And if he's on loan, he's going to be all guns blazing. He's one of 3 outcomes: 1, to earn a move to us; 2, to earn a move elsewhere; or 3, ultimately, to prove Man United wrong. So he's got motivation. He's got some ability. There's no denying that he's a good player. Is he a top player? Probably not. Is he going to be as good as Benrahma? Probably not. But if he can come in and do a job for us, even if it's just a rotation option to come in for 20 minutes to give someone a rest, or he's quite versatile, I think it's a worthwhile loan. And it means we've signed Benrahma permanently. There's no David Sullivan shithousery at the last minute in summer, which I was on the back burner, very worried that he was going to go, he's got no ligaments in his left knee, his right artery's clogged out, we'll waive 5 million off. Yeah, we've signed him, that's it, done. No fucking around, no other team gazumping us. We've got Benrahma now.
But I was concerned at the time because I was hearing Lingard coming. I was thinking, where does Lingard fit in with this team? I just want to know what you lot think. Do you think he's someone that Moyes is looking at purely as a rotation option, possibly someone we can bring on fresh legs? Or do you actually think that he looks long-term and possibly says, if I can get the best out of Lingard, he can be a starter in this side? And where does he start if he is? So I'm a bit puzzled. I want to see what Moyes does with him.
Well, I think obviously one of his options, in terms of position, and you can play off the front, you can play on the wing, play, second striker, maybe even centrally. So that's probably why Moyes has brought him in. And the players, obviously in the starting 11 are doing well at the moment. But as we've said, there might be injuries further on down in the season. If there's a loss of form for a few games, he could always come in and start. So I think that for a loan, I think it's a punt worth taking. When he was linked a few weeks ago, I thought I wasn't too sure. But considering it's a loan, I'd be up for that. And it reminds me a little bit of when we got Samir Nasri in the 18-19 season under Pellegrini, where he had a point to prove after his ban, and it was a 6-month deal. And it was a punt worth taking. And if it weren't for his injuries, I think he would have stayed at the club. I think he did pretty well when he played. So I think that was a punt worth taking. It didn't come off. And I think it's the same with Lingard with a loan.
Yeah, I think Lingard's not carrying so much sort of any injury worries, and he's got youth on his side still. What's he, 28? Comes in with a top pedigree, doesn't he? He's come through that academy all the way through Champions League football, international tournaments. I mean, I see loads on Twitter and people saying, he's not the signing for us. And I'm thinking, well, who is then? I mean, if you want to go to take that next step, well, he is that next step, really, if you look at his pedigree. I know that we're currently playing well and arguably got players that are the same sort of level as him. But ultimately, I mean, this guy has not been a bit part player for most of his career. He's been there. He's been in the thick of it. I know he's obviously gone off the boil the last year or so, but even better, he's going to come in hungry, knows the manager, and I think it's a top signing. The only thing I question is why we're we're using up perhaps loan space on that when we need a striker and we need a central midfielder. We've got Lanzini, we've got Fornals, we've got Benrahma. I'm unsure why we're bringing in someone in that position, but
unless Moyes plans to use Lingard up front.
Well,
I thought a little bit about that earlier. I was thinking
the issue there is that it's a domestic loan. So realistically, are we going to get a striker on a domestic loan that's worth it? I don't think so. I think Giroud was maybe the only one domestically we were linked with a loan, but I can't see that happening under how Moyes plays. We could still get an overseas loan striker. The Korean lad at Leipzig is still on the radar, and I think would be a very good backup to Antonio. But yeah, he could play him as a centre forward. I see him as either as a rotation, or he could make that number 10 spot his own. If he comes in and does well, I don't really mind who plays for us. I do jokingly before I used to say that I favoured Allah, but that was more just to wind people up. If a player's playing well and doing the business, they should be starting. So therefore, Lingard shouldn't be coming in and walking into this side, and I don't think he would. I think he'd have to earn it on the training pitch, just like Dawson did. Like to begin with, Benrahma did. He comes in and does a good job at a 10. That's great.
I think it gives us options. Possibly you play maybe in games you need to take a bit of possession and take on teams. You put Benny maybe on the left and Lingard possibly in the 10. 4 might have to drop out. It is still good to have options, and I think the thing that Lingard does offer is work rate. We know Moyes is massive on that, and Benny's showing that in his game. But if you can rotate and bring someone like a Lingard in that is going to work hard, that is going to press teams, it is important. But like a lot of the comments are saying, we need a second striker. That is an absolute priority, and we need to get that done by the end of the window.
I personally think by bringing in Lingard, I don't think we're going to be bringing in a striker. And the reason for that is that I think that Yarmolenko will be pushed to be that second striker.
Right.
I just don't see it. We've had this conversation so often. We're now, what's the date? The 27th today. We've got about 6 days or so until the window shuts. We're not any, the strikers that we were linked with 2 weeks ago, that trail's suddenly gone very cold. And I think we've probably agreed that we've yet again been made to look very, very stupid with our pursuit of some of them players. And I think that what will happen is that Lingard will compete probably in the behind the striker role with Bowen, Fornals and Benrahma and Lanzini. And I think that if Antonio needs a rest the last 20 minutes or, God forbid, he gets injured, I think that Yarmolenko will be the person that comes on to replace him. I just don't see us signing the striker.
I think Mark's right. Spot on. If I was to forecast it, I think Mark's just nailed that. Yeah.
Well, what I'd say in that situation, then GSB have potentially digging themselves a massive hole, because remember what we said last couple of weeks, that the excuse next summer will be, well, we signed Benrahma, there's your signing. we've signed Benrahma now effectively with the Haller money. If you think about it,
we have.
if you think about it, that's the Haller money, Haller money, to channel my inner Doctor Evil. But then in summer, what's the excuse going to be this summer? Because it's not going to be, we spent 20 million on Benrahma. You've been handed that by selling Sebastian Haller. And again, depending on who you bloody believe, we either spent 20 million or 40 million or 5 million or 10 million on Haller. I mean, the amount of figures that have been banded about it are a bit bloody ridiculous.
Definitely lost some money on him, though, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely lost some money. But there was reports of that 42 million that we signed him for. Apparently 12 of that was bonuses related in his goal performances and whether we qualify for Europe. So that's a £10 million loss we've had, which isn't as horrific as made out. But like I said today, that Sky Sports, Jim White said it's 20 million for Benrahma. It'd be very interesting to see what Claret and Hugh figures put out over the next 6 months, depending on which way the wind's blowing. Keep an eye on that, ladies and gentlemen. Because I guarantee you that price might creep up closer to summer.
Make sure you take screenshots. Make sure you take screenshots before it comes.
Keep an eye out on everything that Claret and Hugh put out there, because I guarantee you that figure's going to change over the next 6 months. The closer we come to the next window, when the excuses need that we got no money. I'll
tell you what, you are probably right, Jeff and Mark, about the striker thing. But in my head, I can't mentally get my head around that we can't even afford to possibly even bring someone in on loan. That for me, I mean, you look how well we're doing. Most owners would take a look at a club like how we're performing and say, right, get him the recruits in, support him a little bit, and we can maintain that position. And it's in a topsy-turvy league, it's a great chance to push on. And look, I know Yarma did well against Doncaster, and it is Doncaster, but as a second choice striker, that's what worries me. He scored the goal and I thought, oh, here we go. Right, I see. So this is going to be our...
Yeah, and on the bench now. That's Sullivan justifying not signing someone. Whereas, if it's a small loan fee, I'd bring in Hee-Chan from Leipzig for a short loan, because what have you got to bloody lose? Bringing him in on a 6 months loan. If he's not good, pay Yarmolenko.
Well, it's the same premise as Lingard, isn't it? He hasn't played really for Leipzig. He is fit. He's ready to go. He's got a good goal-scoring record. He has some quality there. Again, whether he'll transition well to the league, we don't know. But we need someone that we can bring on for Mickey.
If what Andy just said about 1st of February, Antonio's hamstring goes, then what do we do? Then we got a very slow Yarmolenko up top, a bunch of kids, and maybe playing Jesse Lingard up top.
I mean, let's be honest though. Yesterday, the difference between the Palace game in December and that was a lot of it was Mickey Antonio. His runs in behind, playing on the shoulder, his hold-up play. We didn't have that before. You lose that, we become a slightly different side. We sit a bit deeper, and teams start to dominate possession a bit more.
I can't see how bringing in Hwang from Leipzig is going to push us on, because he's coming from outside the Premier League or the English game in general. Yeah. He's got to settle in. He's got to find his feet. We know how Moyes likes to bed players in that are coming from a lower level than the Premier League, and then it's a short-term loan, and then he's gone again. And I know he said he's got a good goal-scoring record, which he has, but it's for RB Salzburg, not for Leipzig. And I know where Salzburg is, chaps.
In
Austria, yeah.
North Austria, but Hallen came from there, and he smashed it in Dortmund. He won the top strikers in the world.
Yeah, no,
if he'd have got that record at Leipzig, then that's fair enough. But we bring a guy that hasn't got that top flight pedigree into a league he's never played in right at the end of a window for the rest of the season. By the time he's bedded in, it'd be time to go home, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'd just rather have someone than nothing, to be fair. I think that's just the way I'd rather have someone that's got a bit of pace than Yarma. That's for me.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The only thing that I can think of that's just come to me now is Igala at Man United. So don't forget signing Lingard at all. And he seems to have fallen off the face of the earth of Manchester United, obviously after he come in last year, didn't he, on loan, and did quite well, actually.
Yeah.
But that's the only other way that I can, because I'm agreeing with Jeff really, that knowing what Moyes is like, he likes to bed players in for a good couple of months. You've seen it with Benrahma as a great example this season. Whereas at least Igala's someone that knows the league. I know he hasn't played too much football this year, but he's probably a little bit more up to speed, and he's a little bit, at least he can hang on to the ball as well, which is something that Antonio's obviously has got that ability to do, and it means that we probably haven't got to change the way that we play too much.
Yeah.
But that's the only other option that I can think of off the top of my head, really, that could be, as a different.
I don't think he's the quickest though, Igalo. So I'd rather go with Hwang from Salzburg. I think from what I've read of him, he's very similar to Firmino at Liverpool. Very dynamic, very hard working, got a bit of pace. That suits our team rather than someone like Igalo, 100%.
I think what we're seeing here, obviously, has been the David Sullivan bingo this transfer window from mad sort of bids that never happened, and obviously
sometimes the bids will be false.
100%, mate. And Giroud and Eriksen and all that stuff. I think the key thing and the difference has been with Moyes is he's not going to take a player that either he doesn't want or just doesn't fit, and that is important because you look how strong our team spirit is. He doesn't want anyone in there that's not going to fit. And I think it's disgraceful that they can't back him, particularly in the position we're in. But if he can keep the squad the way it is and he's happy with it, I guess we've just got to sit here and back him.
Yeah, I mean, he's never publicly going to say that he's not happy with the squad. Let's be fair. What sort of message would that send out to the rest of the team? But he's always going to have to do that sort of PR thing. And that's not even me saying that he's going to defend the board. And that if I'm in that changing room and my manager says, well, I'm not happy with the squad, what message does that send out to all the effort I've been putting in training? So he always will appear to be happy with the squad. Whether he's truly happy with missing out on certain players is another story to be told, which you'll probably do in a book one day. But right now, we're not. I mean, there's an element of risk with every loan signing. Igalo's barely played. He did say a farewell message the other day. I think I saw mate Seamus, the United fan, retweeted it, I think. But it does look, by all intents and purposes, he's set to go back to China. So I don't think he is. If he was coming to us, he wouldn't leave the country. But it's a nice idea.
It's not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout.
Not a bad shout at all.
Just
a couple of years ago, fantastic signing. I remember when Watford first went up, he was electric, and then just sort of fell off the radar a little bit. But Hwang would be a very good signing. Equally, Jeff is right that it will take time to bed in, but you never know that with a player. I mean, Haaland left there, went to Dortmund and absolutely smashed it, and is now being touted as a £125 million player this summer. So
he's different class, mate.
I'm not saying it's going to be like that, but you just don't quite know how quick you can adapt and stuff. I think for the sake of it, it's worth a punt having someone in on loan. And if he isn't up to speed, doesn't play, as long as the loan fee is not massive, it doesn't affect us. David Moyes, although he's brought on the young boys against Doncaster, we have had a bit of a problem with him giving young players game time. There's times when I think Connor Coventry could have come in and done something for us, and he hasn't. Losing Josh Cullen wasn't his decision, but really, I prioritise a central midfielder. If we're not going to get a striker, we need to get some central midfield cover.
Yeah.
Then in that case, for the next few days of the window, but there's only a few days of the window left. We're owned by David Sullivan. I think it's going to be Lingard, and that's it.
God, that'd be awful.
Probably. Start using Fornals as a central midfielder. If he brings Lingard in, I think Fornals.
Yeah, that's a good shout. Actually,
just double up as a central midfielder. I think he's got the attributes to the defensive awareness to play there. I don't know if he's. I mean, he's fairly physical, isn't he? He's not that big, but he's physical and he can get around a little bit. So I think that's what will happen. It seems a bit strange to me not signing another central midfielder and letting Josh come and Snoddy as well. But here we are, as Dennis said, that is Sullivan.
Lingard can drop back there for 10 minutes if needs be. I'm sure he'll do all right. He's played a couple of games in midfield for United, not often, but I'm sure he'll do okay for 10 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. I think. Look, listen, David Moyes probably already knows he's not getting a centre midfield in. He maybe look at Lingard and say, can he do a job for now? Can he do a job? Yeah, maybe for 10, 15 minutes. We touched on it a little bit, the Doncaster game. We'll get away from all the negativity with the transfer window. 4-0. We made it a very, very easy afternoon for ourselves. We'd played some fantastic stuff. I know they're League One. But at times, listen, Lanzini, Fornals and Benrahma, they looked absolutely electric.
Yeah, and to be fair, the amount of times we've lost to when Moyes was last in the charge, really struggled against two League One sides, and we went out to Wigan 2 years in a row. Wigan, Wimbledon went out to League One sides, so not always easy, and really glad to get out of it. Honourable shout has to go out for. I'm just loving the audacity of substituting your goalkeeper.
Yeah, I love that.
You've got the minutes, but it's just the audacity of it. And also the whole the preview music for anyone who's watching it on the red button, was amazing. you need to check out the Vibe and Cat video. But yeah, great moment. Just wish, again, one of those ones where you just wish the fans were there, because to score your first goal for West Ham, you don't want to do it in front of an empty stadium.
Yeah, no,
you don't want to do that in front of an empty stadium. So
it was the impressive thing for me was, and I think we are seeing it generally in Benrahma's game, is that kind of quickness and that decisiveness. And at times, after the first goal went in early doors, they sat back a bit, and I thought, here we go, it's going to be hard to break them down. But our movement was really, really good. And you think going forward, I think we're seeing West Ham progressing as a side in general, finding different ways to beat teams. And I know it's only Doncaster, but I still think it's a massive positive.
Yeah, it was, but we had some great performances as well in the Carabao Cup at the start of the season, and there was people complaining about that when we were scoring 5 or 6 goals, and we put in a similar level of forward play to that game.
We played some nice stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and I think obviously the result was fantastic, but I think for me the most pleasing thing was that we had 7 or 8 academy players involved against Doncaster, and I think that's a real testimony to the people that are in at that level. Developing the players. Obviously, and that's we're known as the Academy of Football. And it's about time, in my opinion, that we had a few more younger players coming through. The last one really, obviously, probably Rice, who really established himself. And before that, Noble, Tompkins,
Collison, maybe, yeah.
Stanislas.
So, it's good that we've got players that are knocking on that door and look like they've actually got the opportunity and the potential. To hopefully establish themselves in and around the first team for the next few years, which I personally think is great.
Yeah, and technically Noble's an academy player, so we can add his name down to the list as well.
Yeah. Now listen, I thought Odebeke was going to start. I think there was an issue. I don't know whether it was he had COVID or his match fitness. So I'm not too sure. But
he had COVID, then he didn't have COVID, then he did have COVID, then he didn't have COVID. It was all a massive carry on.
I'm gutted for him though, because I think he would.
No idea what was going on. But
I think he would have started by the sounds of it. Moyes he keeps putting him on the bench, and I know obviously we don't have too many striking options, but that is a positive. I think Moyes does look at the youth coming through and gives them an occasional chance. I think someone in the comments says not too many chances, but Ben Johnson played as well, another academy graduate, so positive signs.
Yeah, I think it's nice he's putting him in the squad. I've felt a couple of times he could have made a few changes a bit earlier. Like the Stockport game, having Antonio out in the mud, and you think, and he gives Odebeke 2 minutes, and I'm thinking, come on, mate, do you know what I mean? Give him 15, 20 minutes. But I can't sit here slating Moyes. That just wouldn't be right the way we're going on. But it'd be nice, if he gave him a few more minutes when he can. But that being said, I never expected him to give that goalie his Nathan Trott his debut. So that was a nice touch. And it looks like we've got a few decent players coming through, doesn't it? So the future looks all right, doesn't it?
It does, mate. It was almost Mark Wright level of sub, wasn't it? Bringing Nathan Trott on. Fabianski looked over him. It was like, what are you doing?
After that.
It was getting there, mate. I was like, oh, come on. But look, listen, we've got Man United in the next round. We either got them or Liverpool, and obviously Man United got through. Do you think we've got a chance with the way we're playing? I feel like we're going to that game with a bit of confidence. I know they are playing some good stuff at the minute, but wouldn't rule West Ham out in a one-off game.
They're not playing good stuff right now. I'm watching it over the top of the screen.
They're struggling. My fantasy team's struggling then.
Yeah, we can go in and play anyone, can't we? At the moment, our team's as good as anyone's really on its day. So it's going to be a big ask, isn't it? Getting through at Old Trafford, but it can be done. I'll go and see his games full of dread normally, but I'll go into every game excited at the moment. So I'm sure, we'll give it a go. I'm sure.
As long as we wear the black kit, we'll be fine.
Oh, mate, that black kit.
As long as we wear the black kit.
So well in that black kit. Bill, do you think we can get something at Old Trafford? Cause a bit of an upset?
Yeah, I don't see why not. We should have beat them in the league earlier this season. The game we should have been 3-0 up at least at half time. We should have beaten them. They're a good side. And they've proven that. They've got over their dodgy start to the season, and they're right in it to win the league this season. But I don't see why we can't go there and win. They're suspect at the back at times, and if Antonio plays and we've got our attacking players in good form, I don't see why not. Obviously, we've got to play well, but if we take our chances, then of course we can beat them. But they can beat us, so it should be a great game.
Yeah, no, definitely. Mark, do you think it will finally be the time we see Mark Noble lift the FA Cup?
I certainly hope so. We obviously saw Man United from the 15-16 season when.
See Randolph on Instagram.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, that's fucking brilliant.
I agree. Maybe we get some. We get them back for that. I think really a lot of it with that game. I think almost depends on Man United, because I think obviously where they are in the league at the moment, I get the feeling that they might prioritise the league. Because they've got their best chance since Ferguson retired of winning it, and I think that they may, especially as well with the Europa League coming back up as well, I wouldn't be surprised if they make a lot of changes, and I think that play into our hands. And I really, really hope. I know we just praised Moyes for giving some of the academy players a chance, but I really hope that he goes out there with his strongest team.
Yeah,
and really take it to them and give them a great game, because I think we've got a really good chance of beating them.
Yeah, no, definitely. Listen, Mickey in there. The couple of games, we look at the Man United game, didn't have Mickey, and we lost him for quite a few. And then you've seen him come back against Palace, and he makes a difference. You feel that if he can play in an FA Cup, I fancy him against Maguire. If Lindelof plays as well, for pace, I think Mickey's going to cause him some serious issues.
Well, Mickey against Maguire on a muddy pitch in the 6-yard box. That would be an interesting sight.
Bring it on, man. Bring it on.
That would be a very interesting sight, especially at a corner with Souček flying in there as well.
It's a good point, though. It's a good point, Mark, though, because I think people have forgotten, even me included, about Champions League and Europa League. It is going to come around, and some of these teams that we're up there with, for whatever reason, obviously with performances, are going to have to try and rest and rotate. So possibly it suits us. Again, we've got another massive game on Sunday. Liverpool. We're currently above them, actually, so we're going in their lower league opposition. But no, seriously, I mean, Liverpool have struggled of late. They're struggling to get goals. They did look a little bit better against Manchester United in the FA Cup. How are we feeling generally about this game? Do you think West Ham possibly can even get the 3 points, or do you reckon I'm being a bit too optimistic?
They're going through a dodgy spell. First time, for a while under Jurgen Klopp's reign, when he took over, they weren't the greatest side. He's gradually improved them each season. They're going through a sticky spell, but still an unbelievable side. Obviously missing Van Dijk, Matip, Gomez. Playing two of their best midfielders, Fabinho and Jordan Henderson at centre back. So we've definitely got a chance against them. I thought we played well against them at Anfield, and for the last couple of seasons, I'd say we haven't got the results. And at home, we've given them games. So I don't see why we can't beat them. I think we've got every chance.
Yeah, no, definitely. You look at Reece Williams as well at times. He was looking a little bit suspect for Liverpool at the back. I fancy Mickey against him. Last time we didn't have Mickey. And obviously I'm not going to talk about Allaire at all because it's been and gone. But you just feel like, against those centre-backs, I know Fabinho's done all right there, but listen, they're not natural. And you've got the young man there, and you just fancy West Ham to get something, particularly on that counter. Jared Bowen as well. Rapid.
Yeah, and their front three are not as there's obviously still dangerous players, but they're not performers they have been in the last few seasons. And obviously they've played a lot.
They've got a hat-trick coming in there.
Well, they've played a lot of football. Haven't had a lot of breaks with internationals and stuff. So, and obviously Jurgen Klopp's, heavy metal football and stuff. Maybe it's catching up with them, but hopefully, if they do turn their form around, I think they will. Hopefully after Sunday.
Yeah. Also, we haven't mentioned it, but Trent is having a bit of a shocker at the moment. To be fair to him, he's going forward. He's not looking great defensively. He's never been the best defensively. He's still not looking great. Do you think that's an area that West Ham can target?
No, 100%. Yeah, I mean, both their fullbacks, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson, like to fly forwards, and most of the time they leave their two centre backs just on their own. So the spaces are there to take advantage. We couldn't, obviously, as you rightly say, Corey, against the Liverpool at Anfield, we had Allaire up front. We couldn't take advantage of the space in behind, whereas we can now. So as long as we counter them, transition quickly, then we've got every chance.
Indeed.
What are we saying, Dennis? Are you afraid of possibly Sadio Mane, Mo Salah? I know
it's one of those things for me. And I keep saying this, but it's like you always have that one game that can turn your season right or turn it wrong. So such as like what I said about that Brighton game. If we can, when we were resting players, we played 7 centre backs. If we just get something out of this game, the momentum comes forward. So I think this Liverpool game with the run of fixtures we got coming up, we got Fulham, we got Villa, we got Sheffield United, 3 very winnable games. This is the game where I think again it's a bit of a if we could get something coming out of this and keep the momentum going forward, that's great. Whereas if let's say worse comes to worse happens on Sunday, I'm worried about the effect that might have on the next 3 games. I'm not saying play defensive. I'm not saying don't go for it. All I'm saying is that this game, I think, is more important than people realise for me. Going out from Liverpool, they're dangerous. Never count them out. Form is temporary, class is permanent, as they say. And they scored, managed to score a couple against Man United in the Cup. They just got outdone by a bit of magic from Fernandes on the free kick. People, I think, although it's good to come in the game confident on the run of form, people shouldn't be discounting how Liverpool are playing. They are a team we historically don't do too well against, but ultimately in magical seasons we tend to pick up wins against them, like the 3 wins we got in Bilic's year. So that's all I'm saying is that I think this game is to keep the momentum going. This game is very important on Sunday, and having Mickey up top instead of Haller is another dimension against their a very shaky makeshift defense, but equally. As in the West Ham, we joke say the West Ham way. We're the team that always breaks your bad duck. So fully expect
charity FC sometimes.
Yeah, I fully expect Sadio Mane hat-trick where he nutmegs Dawson twice somehow at the same time, or some bullshit like that. But I'll do my typical thing and sit on the fence and just go for a score draw. As Dominic said, well, I've done a score draw the last few games so many times. I'm going to stick with score, saying it's a score draw.
The interesting thing about this game, obviously, we've got Liverpool on Sunday, and I think we've got Villa on Tuesday, and that's a ridiculous turnaround against 2 high energy teams. I know Villa lost tonight, but I wonder whether Moyes is going to look at them and pluck his chances for one. I know we don't have much to bring in, to be fair, so he'll probably pick the same side. But I guess he'll look at one side and think, actually, I can get the 3 points again. I don't mind maybe losing or getting a draw against the other.
We might have Lingard for Villa. Just put that there. We may have Lingard.
Yeah, that's what he's thinking. Probably after the transfer window's all wrapped up. Jeff, are we feeling optimistic about Sunday, or do you think Liverpool, hopefully they don't, but do you think maybe they could get back in form and give us a bit of a game?
Well, I've said it before, but when we go into games, so long as we play well, we do the right things, and we have a go, that's all I worry about. The results will come. There's nothing worse than getting humped 4-0 and we've done it so many times. I think Bournemouth last year, no shots on target, and you just think, why? Like, how can you even do that over 90? So as long as we go into games with these big teams like we did against Liverpool and Man City earlier in the season, we went into both of those games. We had a good go at it. We didn't get the result necessarily we wanted, but the team left with confidence, knowing that they can play at that level. As long as we do that again, I'm happy. We go and give it a go. They've got some vulnerabilities at the back at the moment. Their strikers are out of form, so it's a good opportunity. We're higher up in the league than them anyway.
I'll be saying that too many times this season.
Yeah, I know. I think it's going to the game feeling good. I think it's a good opportunity to try and nick something from them. But as long as we put in a performance, then I'm happy. And we go into Villa full of confidence and give them a good beating, I would say.
Oh, I'd love that. Mark, thoughts on Sunday, mate?
Yeah, I always look at these games against the big teams as a bit of a free hit, really, to be perfectly honest. And I'm still sort of going in quite optimistic for this game. But I think we've got, as has been said by everyone, really, that we've got a fantastic chance because of the defensive problems that they've got. And obviously, I know that Salah scored a couple of goals against United in the Cup last week. But obviously, generally speaking, their front 3 aren't firing at the moment. And I think that just gives us a bit of confidence for me. And as been said, if obviously Antonio's going to start, and if they've got that Williams at centre back, I really fancy Antonio to really rough him up, because they've been playing Henderson there and Fabinho at centre half, who clearly are well out of their depth playing in that role. And I think if we can get him the right service and get him one-on-one, I fancy him to maybe pop up. He obviously owes us a goal after last night, Winston. Quite strange, to be fair to him, but yeah, I'm confident, certainly more confident than what I would have been maybe 2-3 months ago, definitely.
Yeah. That's the thing, mate, isn't it? I finished the stream yesterday and I was thinking, God, you know what? I fancy this game on Sunday. Normally I'm like, oh, here we go, right, Liverpool. And we play well at Anfield. You feel at the London Stadium, we can put them under a bit of pressure. The key thing here is obviously they're playing on Thursday night against Spurs. You hope they wear them out a little bit. We come in with 2 extra days rest. And listen, like Jeff said, just give it a go. You know, I think we've got winnable fixtures after this. Ultimately, we've got Fulham, Sheffield United, Spurs, another winnable fixture. So again, I think we'll be all right. I do think we'll be all right. I'm interested to see how we can keep this consistency up. But I mean, credit to Moyes this season. The consistency against some of the lower sides is what we've been missing as West Ham fans for years. We've always tended to get a result against the Liverpool or a Tottenham, and then we've lost to a Burnley. So I'm not sure where we're going to go this season, but I'm definitely enjoying it for now.
There's something I didn't touch on, and I can't believe I didn't. But we also got to take into account the ultimate, wild card in a West Ham Liverpool game is, how many times is Salah going to dive?
Yeah, well, Matawaku's not playing, so hopefully he won't.
Yeah, but is the sniper going to be in there ready to take his ankles out? And also another thing, I saw it come up in the comments beforehand, but on a bit of a tangent, mate, is people need to listen out that Hammers United are going to be on TalkSport tomorrow.
Yes, so they are.
Definitely give that a listen tomorrow morning, 10:30. It'll be interesting to see how much Jim White shouts over them. How you doing, Lee Clayton?
Your best mate. He's up there with Wilfred Zaha for you, isn't he, Lee Clayton?
Oh, Lee Clayton and Wilfred Zaha. That'd be an elevator, stuck elevator from hell for me. That would.
Yeah, no. Listen, before we get into all that, Lee Clayton, listen, I'm sure Dennis will mention it on every single stream from now to the end of the season. But I'm going to ask all of you your score predictions for Sunday, starting with Dennis. Don't sit on the fence, mate. Give us a bold one.
Oh, right. Well, Salah's going to get sent off for diving in the first half, and that'll open the game up, and we'll win 3-1.
Oh, lovely stuff. Mark?
I'm going to sit on the fence. I'm going to say it'll be a 1.
No, you're not allowed to.
Yeah, come on, mate. We're fourth in the league. We're Champions League.
All right. 2-1 to West Ham.
Lovely stuff. Bill?
Yeah, I think we'll match what we got against City at the London Stadium earlier this season, 1-1.
1-1. Take that. And Jeff?
Yeah, score draw 1-1. I think Nicky scores in this game, but I think we'll do well to hold Salah and Mane off for 90 minutes. So I think it's 1-0.
Right, I'm going to go.
Just to be
I'm going to
clear,
go. Yeah, go on, Dennis.
Everyone's done a score draw, but me and Mark got bullied into doing West Ham.
I haven't done mine yet. I was going to say 2-1. I'm feeling confident. I'm looking at Reece Williams. I'm looking at Craig Dawson from a set piece, and I'm properly fancying it. I just think West Ham go in loads of confidence. There's weaknesses in this Liverpool side. We're on the ascendancy. They're struggling a bit. Yes, they've got quality. But I just fancy. I think we could outwork them at times in this game. You'll definitely be interested to see. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. Everyone that's watching, drop a like on the stream before you leave. Check out all these guys on social media. Loads of good opinions. Right, and then I'm going to put out a predicted 11 for the Liverpool game, possibly on Friday. You'll get your tactical breakdown as well, and then we'll return for the watch-along on Sunday, 4 o'clock. West Ham versus Liverpool. It's a massive game. I'm buzzing for it. Take care, everyone.